Our first panel will cover 3 different perspectives of integration. And we are so happy to first welcome a Swedish artist and a human rights activist and a totally rock star. Welcome, Loreen. Woo!
My God. Oh, I was standing behind there and like, come on, give me more.
More, yeah. Welcome. So,
welcome and sit here. Can I sit wherever I want?
No.
No? No, okay. We have instructions. Oh, great. So nice to be here. Yeah, it is so strong. And these lovely women, so strong and so beautiful. Give them a round of applause, please, for me.
So I wanted to ask you, what is the positive side of integration?
If you ask a creator, what time is it? We're vampires, we're creators. We're still asleep, so now I'm sleep talking. But if you ask me the positive sides of integration, I would say integration for me, that's the key to personal development. When I say that, I mean interacting with people, learning different cultures, different ways of doing things has enriched my life, you know? And I believe that that's the key. That's the key to also work on your fears, you know? And I believe that fear is the thing that segregates everything, that separates us from each other. Did you guys understand that?
Yeah.
Was that?
And how can we use that power to improve integration in Sweden or broadly?
I would say to try to find common ground, you know? And for me, I'm a living proof. Art, for instance, that's common ground. I mean, that's a place, art is something that everybody understands, that everybody can relate to, you know? No matter where you're from, no matter what language you speak or where, you know? And I think that could be one way to meet each other and build from that, you know? Instead of looking at our differences, we have to look at what we have in common, you know? And art was one thing. Music.
True.
Yeah. Because that is actually one of the reasons why we are on this stage and why we're talking about this in connection to the Polar Music Prize. Because we think that art and creativity and design and music could really be instrumental to solve some of these complicated issues. How have you been using your platform as an artist?
I mean, oh my God. Every time I do something, if it's like, and I know that you're referring to Eurovision, like, every time I do something, I try to, how do you say this in a good way? It's all about communication. You know, music, to some people, music is just music. For me, it's a way of communicating. I want to make sure that everybody feels, now I'm losing words in English, but that everybody feels welcomed and they can connect with what I'm doing. And so that's one of my most important thing when in a project, you know, and if, like for Eurovision, for instance, yeah, well, I use my so-called power to basically try to help people that are, like, worse off than myself, yeah. And I always do, like, on every platform there is, especially television. So you wait and see what I'm going to do with the Polar Prize. Am I supposed to say this?
We are so curious how you will use the Polar Music Prize stage for your power.
I can tell you this. I want, obviously, you can see my hands. This is henna. So this is Berber. This is from my tribe. And so this performance is going to be a mix-up of different cultures, and hopefully that people will feel like, hey, I see myself in that. If you're from Morocco, Afghanistan, Swedish, I want to make sure that everybody feel welcome, because that's Sweden. This is us, you know. Exactly. So I want to represent what Sweden stands for.
So why is it so difficult still?
You know, I want to be constructive. I think, as Hans Rosling always said, we're going the right way, you know. And I think we need to focus on the fact that we're going the right way. The positive path, most definitely. And looking at people around us, there's an awareness going on. You can see how people are talking. But still, let's just be aware of our fears. Fear is okay. Let's try to find a way to handle our fears, you know. And if we do, it will go even faster, the development.
Sounds great. So let's also welcome our two next panelists, Emma from Welcome App and Ashish J Thakkar again.
I feel at home. Now I'm going to sing you a song.
Let's start with you, Emma, because you're now the only one who's not been on stage yet. What is Welcome App?
Welcome App is a platform that connects everyone that is new in a country with opportunities in the local society. We founded in 2015, when around 165,000 people came to Sweden during that year. We talked to a lot of people and tried to understand what the immediate need was, and understood that it isn't always like human capital, what you know and your skills. You have a lot of people we met had that, and it isn't always financial capital either. But what we saw was the lack of social capital, which is a value of the social network you can have in a country. So we thought, can we build that in a scalable way? So Welcome App is now a place where you can meet other people over lunches and dinners, and you can also come in contact with companies. And everything that you do through the platform adds to your sort of social CV for people that are new in the country.
Can you give one example of how it's been working?
Yeah, so for an example, one of our first users, his name was Zahir. So when we first met him, he said, oh, well, I learned 2 other languages when coming to Sweden, but not Swedish yet, because I haven't met any Swede. And that was crazy, we thought. How can it be like that? So he was one of the first users. So he connected through the app and got connected with one of the first people he got to know, and which they found a common interest in guitar, so we matched on interest. So they met up, played a lot of guitar, and a couple of months later he found someone else that offered him a job opportunity through the app as well. So we think that, people, as you said, Anna, a lot of people is often the solution for things, often the problem and the solution. But if people choose to be the solution, and we saw that there was an enormous increase in supply of people that wanted to do something, and we wanted people to be able to do it, to make it easier for them.
So Emma, what is your thoughts about the interconnection between impact, creativity, and tech?
Yeah. For us, impact is why we exist, and it's our vision is connected to impact. Creativity is how we try to do things in new ways. You perhaps heard the saying, it's hard to do. We often think we can do the same things, but sometimes we expect different results from doing the same things, but that doesn't really happen. So creativity is like, how can we find new ways of doing integration, of making people meet more? And technology, we use that to scale what we see works. So creativity for us is finding new ideas all the time. We release new things once a month, and we see what works, and technology helps us to scale it. So we can match people faster. We see what we can do better. We see what works best when people are matched on occupation or interest, and we do that in a bigger scale.
That's cool. I love that usage of tech. So Ashish, when you listen to Loreen and Emma, what are your reflections?
I'm questioning why I'm even here. No, I think it was so fantastic to listen to them both. I think Emma really summed it up, the whole angle of doing good, doing well, and finding a true localized solution and leveraging off the power of technology is just fantastic. And I think Loreen really nailed it in terms of, you know, the fact that we're even having this dialogue is such a big deal. That's such a fantastic sign that we're thinking about this the right way. And I think to your point, it's about that positive mindset. And you're right, you know, fear is not a bad thing. It's a matter of addressing it, but it's a matter of thinking about it more broadly as well, about what the overall impact is going to be. So it's great. It's very inspiring.
And one question to all three of you. Is there one thing that you think that we all can do starting today? And I will start with you, Loreen.
Oh, wow. I would say invest in personal development. Learn about yourself, know yourself. You know, you have to ask yourself the right questions, you know, instead of, I think it always starts with the individual, you know, what's going on in here. And if everything's balanced within yourself, you know, you start making decisions, great decisions, you know. So yeah, I think that going down to the core of it, you know, and work from there today.
Great. I would say actually to take the first step in perhaps meeting someone if you haven't done that before. I mean, it's so easy to talk about this issue and about it. I mean, 2018 is the year that we go into with this as the biggest question in the election. But perhaps talk with someone instead, and we have lunches or dinners, as I mentioned. But I think that would be a great first step. Sometimes we say with a glimpse in our eye, eat up your prejudices over a lunch. That's what we think we all can do. We're sometimes unaware of what we are unaware of, but we can become more aware.
I would sum it up with, I think, the whole angle of truth, love, and compassion. I think how we can keep an open mind, reset certain stereotypes, stroke narratives that have been set for us, and actually learn and understand what's going on with a really, really open mind, a clean slate. And let's really celebrate and learn from things that are working in other places that we least expected.
Yeah, so start with yourself, connect with another person, and then be open to the world around. You can do that.
Yeah, we all can do that. Can't we? Yeah.
And with that, thank you all for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You.
Thank you.